Good afternoon. This is All India Radio, and I'm Punita Bakshi with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bhutanese counterpart, Shering Tobgay, discuss enhancing special friendship between India and Bhutan. The Prime Minister addresses International Convention of Saurashtra Patel Cultural Samaj of the US through video conferencing. Supreme Court says Chief Justice of India is master of roster and has authority to allocate cases to different benches of the Apex Court. Finance Secretary Hasmukh Adhia says Centre is trying to make GST refund process fully automatic. Around 1,200 Kailash Mansarovar pilgrims rescued so far in Nepal. Remaining stranded pilgrims likely to be evacuated soon. And in sports, PV Sindhu and HS Pranoy to play their quarter-final matches of Indonesian Open Badminton Tournament in Jakarta this afternoon. And in the FIFA World Cup, quarter-final stage begins this evening. France to take on Uruguay, while Brazil to face Belgium. Prime Minister Narendra Modi met his Bhutanese counterpart, Shering Tobgay, in New Delhi. The two leaders discussed enhancing the special friendship between India and Bhutan. They also discussed issues of mutual interest. Mr. Tobgay arrived in New Delhi yesterday on a 3-day visit to India. He will also call on President Ramnath Kovind this evening. Yesterday, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj called on the visiting dignitary. India and Bhutan enjoy unique ties of friendship and cooperation which are characterized by utmost trust and mutual understanding. The Prime Minister has said non-resident Indians living abroad are making India proud with their work in different countries around the globe. Addressing the International Convention of Saurashtra Patel Cultural Samaj of the United States through video conferencing this morning, Mr. Modi said people who went from India to abroad spread the Indian values and culture worldwide. He added that the strength and respect of the Indian passport has increased. Speaking on the need for clean energy, the Prime Minister said India is leading in clean and green energy worldwide. He said India was instrumental in establishing the International Solar Alliance. Speaking about Iron Man Sardar Patel, Mr. Modi said Patel dedicated his life for the unity and integrity of the nation. He mentioned that the work of making Sardar Patel's Statue of Unity will be completed by the 31st of October and it will be the biggest statue of the world. Mr. Modi asked people of the Saurashtra Patel Cultural Samaj to influence 5 persons to visit India. He also urged the Patel community living in the US to promote Indian tourism there. The Supreme Court today maintained that Chief Justice of India, CJI, is master of roster and has authority to allocate cases to different benches of the Apex Court. A 2-judge bench of Justice Sikri and Justice Ashok Bhushan in separate concurring verdicts said CJI, being the senior-most judge, is empowered to exercise leadership in administration of court, which includes assignment of cases. In his verdict, Justice Sikri said, erosion of judiciary in minds of people is the greatest threat to the judicial system. Justice Ashok Bhushan said, there are rich conventions and practices of the Supreme Court which are time-tested and should not be tinkered with. The court was hearing a public interest litigation filed by senior lawyer and former law minister Shanti Bhushan challenging the existing roster practice of allocation of cases in the Apex Court by the CJI. A 5-judge constitution bench and a 3-judge bench have already held that the CJI is the master of the roster. The Apex Court today referred to a larger bench the matter relating to religious activities being allowed on government land or property in the country. A bench of Justices R.F. Nariman and Indu Malhotra referred the petition to the Chief Justice of India for setting up of a larger bench. While hearing the plea filed by an organization, the bench said the issue was related to an important question whether such religious functions can be allowed on public properties in view of the fact that India is a secular nation. The organization moved the top court after being denied permission by civic authorities to hold religious activities at a park in southwest Delhi. The National Investigating Agency, NIA, today took custody of banned Duktarane Milad chief Asia Andrabi and two others in connection with a case registered for allegedly waging war against the country and delivering hate speeches in Jammu and Kashmir. NIA said Andrabi, who is in prison in Srinagar, is being brought to Delhi along with her associates Sophie Fahmida and Nahida Nasreen. All three will be produced before a special NIA court later for custodial interrogation. The NIA registered a case against them as well as the organization, which is banned under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967 in April this year. The government is working to further simplify the tax system in the country. Addressing a session on 1 year of GST implementation in New Delhi, Finance Secretary Hasmukh Adhia said the centre is also trying to make GST refund process fully automatic. He said, "We have gained quite a bit by doing simplification." He said the GST reform was needed for other economic reforms in the country. Mr. Adhia said credit of bringing GST goes to a lot of people. In Jammu and Kashmir, the Amarnath Yatra resumed this morning on Pahalgam route in Anantnag district. However, the Yatra remains temporarily suspended from Baltal in Gandarbal district in view of weather forecast of landslides along some stretch of the route. Sri Amarnath Shrine Board also halted Yatra from Jammu-based Bhagwati Nagar base camp for today in view of large number of pilgrims held up at base camps in Nunwan, Baltal, Sheshnag and Panchtarni en route to the Holy Cave Shrine due to bad weather and landslides. More from our correspondent.
Governor Anil Vora, who is also chairman of Amarnath Shrine Board, visited Baltal base camp and took stock of the situation arising in view of the large number of stranded yatris at base camp due to bad weather. He issued directions to move stranded yatris towards Holy Cave for darshan. In view of concerns, Shrine Board has advised yatris to adhere to the guidelines already issued to avoid pollution of water bodies along main yatra route. The board has also asked the yatris to dispose of waste in accordance with these guidelines while undertaking yatra on both routes. Tariq Rathur, AIR News, Srinagar.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. The evacuation of stranded Kailash Mansarovar pilgrims in Nepal continues for the fourth day today. Over 1,200 pilgrims have been evacuated so far from Simikot. Our correspondent reports that 342 pilgrims had been airlifted from Simikot when reports last came in. 150 people are still stranded in Simikot and a few other places in Tibet side. Our correspondent has filed a report.
The remaining stranded pilgrims are also likely to be evacuated soon. Besides Indian Embassy, the government of Uttar Pradesh and Indian Railways also providing necessary support to the pilgrims. The district administration of Bahraich is keeping track of the evacuated pilgrims and helping them to reach their destinations. The Indian Railways sending pilgrims to their homes by different trains on the priority basis. Meanwhile, Kailash Mansarovar Yatra via Nepal is progressing normally. Rajkumar, AIR News, Kathmandu.
Prime Minister will be on a day-long visit to Jaipur tomorrow. Mr. Modi will be interacting with beneficiaries of centre and state government's flagship schemes. Over 2 lakh beneficiaries are gathering in the city from 33 districts across the state for the event. We have a report.
The PM's beneficiaries interaction program held at Amrudoka Bagh in the city. The preparations are on full swing to make function historic. The Prime Minister is expected to reach Jaipur around 1 p.m. to address more than 2 lakh beneficiaries of 12 schemes. From Jaipur alone, more than 50,000 beneficiaries will take part in the function. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
The National Nutrition Mission, NNM, launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in March this year, aims to reduce stunting, undernutrition, anemia and low birth weight in babies. In Madhya Pradesh, NNM is being implemented through over 80,000 Anganwadi centers. Let's listen to a ground report from our Bhopal correspondent on the benefits of supplementary nutrition diet.
National Nutrition Mission has been launched to achieve improvement in nutritional status of children, adolescent girls, pregnant women and lactating mothers in a time-bound manner. A father of two daughters, Rajesh Kumar from Bhopal, said that both his daughters are getting proper nutrition due to this mission. मेरी दोनों लड़कियों का नाम मैंने आंगनबाड़ी में लिखवाया है, जहाँ पे उनको दलिया और ये हलवा मिलता है। ये पोषक तत्व उनके शरीर में बहुत अच्छा काम करते हैं। मैं सरकार की पोषण आहार योजना से बहुत खुश हूँ। Another beneficiary, Mirabai, said number of children has been increased at the center and they are getting healthy diet.
हमारी सरकार अच्छा काम भी दिला रही है और आंगनवाड़ी में खाना भी अच्छे से पहुंचा रही है। बच्चों आते भी हैं और उनकी खाना खाने से सेहत भी अच्छी है। To give more boost to the National Nutrition Mission, Madhya Pradesh government has launched Dastak Abhiyan for mass expansion of healthy and nutritional services. In this campaign, joint team of ASA, NNM and Anganwadi workers will visit families of children under 5 years till 31st of this month to identify major disorders particularly related to nutritional and healthy diet at the community level. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
The Prime Minister paid tributes to the founder of Bharatiya Janasangh and former parliamentarian Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee on his birth anniversary today. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, Dr. Mukherjee is remembered as a fine educationist, a wonderful administrator and a stalwart who fought for India's freedom as well as unity. Nation is remembering veteran leader Babu Jagjeevan Ram on his death anniversary today. Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment, Thawar Chand Gehlot, paid floral tributes to the freedom fighter at his Samadhi Samatha Sthal near Rajghat in New Delhi. The United States tariff on $34 billion worth Chinese goods has come into effect, opening the way for an outright trade war between the two economic giants. The 25% tariff from Chinese machinery, electronics and high-tech equipment including autos, computer hard drives and LEDs mark a significant escalation in the trade dispute between China and the US. Meanwhile, China today said it has already imposed retaliatory measures on American goods after the US activated its tariff measures. At the stock markets, erasing all its earlier losses, the Sensex gained 176 points at 35,750 in the afternoon session a short while ago. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange rose 52 points to 10,802. Ace Indian shuttlers PV Sindhu and HS Pranoy will play their quarter-final matches of the Indonesian Open Badminton Tournament in Jakarta this afternoon. World number 3 and Olympic silver medalist Sindhu will shuttle it out against the 8th-seeded Chinese He Pingxiao. In the men's singles, 8th-seed Pranoy will face 3rd-placed Shi Yuqi of China. And now news from the FIFA World Cup.
Being billed as one of the best World Cups of recent times, the all-important quadrennial tournament enters the quarter-final stage today. France will face Uruguay at Nizhny Novgorod at 7:30 p.m., while five-time winners Brazil will take on Belgium at 11:30 p.m. in Kazan. England will battle it out against Sweden tomorrow, with hosts Russia meeting Croatia. France beating Lionel Messi's Argentina in a 7-goal classic, Uruguay sending Cristiano Ronaldo-led Portugal back home, Belgium's unbelievable comeback against Japan, and England breaking its penalty shootout jinx were some of the highlights of the round of 16. Uruguay's PSG forward Edinson Cavani is expected to miss today's quarter-final against France with the calf injury he suffered in the win over Portugal, in which he scored twice. The French will again look to rally behind teenage sensation Kylian Mbappe, who scored a brace against Argentina, but the likes of Antoine Griezmann and Paul Pogba make the team even more dangerous. The other game between Brazil and Belgium also promises to be a nail-biter, as both teams are simply lethal going forward. It'll be Neymar, Gabriel Jesus, Coutinho and Willian against Romelu Lukaku, Eden Hazard, Dries Mertens and Kevin De Bruyne. Like Uruguay, Brazil also has the meanest defense, as even they have conceded just once. However, the Belgians are the leading goal scorers up till now, and this makes the encounter even more intriguing. Sabi Hassan Khan, AIR News.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Bhutanese counterpart Shering Tobgay discuss enhancing special friendship between India and Bhutan. The Prime Minister addresses International Convention of Saurashtra Patel Cultural Samaj of the US through video conferencing. Supreme Court says Chief Justice of India is master of roster and has authority to allocate cases to different benches of Apex Court. Finance Secretary Hasmukh Adia says centre trying to make GST refund process fully automatic. Around 1,200 Kailash Mansarovar pilgrims rescued so far in Nepal. And in the FIFA World Cup quarter-final stage begins this evening. And with that, we end the Midday News.